Boys, girls, and everyone else, welcome back to another Destiny Rising video. In this one, I've seen a lot of people do the new event Reunion Day wrong. There's actually a pretty obvious tip that I haven't seen anyone cover in the sense of a YouTube video or a YouTube short. So I'm going to show you the big tip for this event, because actually this is a pretty fun event to do. And while it doesn't seem at the front end that you can actually grind it, you actually really can. So let's just go ahead and jump straight into it so you can get the most out of this event while it is available to us. And they have more events coming. This is finally, we've been talking about we need more events in Destiny Rising, and we're finally getting them. So this is a W in my book, but let's go ahead and get into Reunion Day today. So Reunion Day has this special offers on the event page. On this. And then, so you can see that you have the exchange shop where you can exchange your origami for all these different awesome goodies, lots of goodies to get. So this is pretty cool. And then of course there's the festival contributions. So there's the individual record and then the pack progress. So as you progress, you attribute toward your pack progress and not vice versa, but then your packs also help you when they do their individual contribution. They'll help your pack progress on the bottom here. I'm in the way. So we go to I'll go top right. So you can see that we're progressing a little bit. I did yesterday. I haven't done today yet because I wanted to show you guys in this video some tips and tricks to really maximize your time in game. So that way, if you don't have a ton of time in general, you can really maximize this event. And again, these clusters are actually really, really needed to help max out your characters fully, especially when it comes to quite literally any character in the game. But let's look at them. So for me, I was not anticipating going in on Mario. You can see that I maxed out my Ningfei, maxed out my Hellhest, but these relic attributes, especially for the weapon mastery, the last slot, it's like 8. It's a ton. So you really need a ton of these. So Mario, you can see I've done that already for her. But yeah, so there's a lot of them. Let me find one that's not. I think it's 8. Almost positive it's 8. Yeah, it's 8. So you can see that if you wanted to max out a character fully, you do need a ton of those, and then they're really, really hard to come by. You can basically only get them from Calamity Ops and then the monthly reset store. So getting them in this event is going to be a really good in-game material that we are all going to, need. So if we go back to the events here and we talked about, there's a special catches going on in 4 days, but we do have the Reunion Bakery going on right now. So like we said, we already talked about the holiday rewards section right here. So the exchange shop and the festival contribution. But if you go over to the bakery, this is the bread and butter of the event. Let me go ahead and move myself out of the way again. Dude, I'm forever in y'all's way. All right, we're going to go on top of his face. So you can see there's like a legendary one or like a gold one and then like a regular one. So this one gives you 100 origami, whereas this one only gives you 50. So the biggest thing to keep in mind is this section right down here. So every day you'll get 5 more orders available to get. So you can only turn in 5 orders, but you also get 3 refreshes every day. Now, what I've seen a lot of people make the mistake of is you do the one that's for 100, you get the materials for it, you turn it in, and then you just, whatever's available to you, you do again. Use your refreshes, guys. You should be targeting to get as many of these 100 origamis as you can in a single day. So once you turn in, basically only turn in when it's 100 origami gift for you right here, and then use your refreshes until you get another one. Now, if you run out of refreshes, then you can go ahead and do the 50s. And that is, I would say, like a pretty, I don't want to say obvious, but like that's a pretty standard recommendation for this style of event, is prioritize the one that gives you the best resources, right? 5-head. But there's more. So in order to get the resources for this event, you have to use a specific, you have to do a certain thing in the game, a certain activity, but then you also have to use a certain element. So you can see this one is Arc, and it's color coded. So the blue one is going to be is for Arc. These are from Shinkas though. So in the Legendary campaign, Realm of the Nine or Gauntlet, and it shows you all different ways you can do Shinkas. We'll talk about the best way of grinding for the Shinkas here in a second. So the green ones are just from killing Shinkas of any kind. And then the orange is, of course, for solar. And then the purple is for void. So you have to get final hits with that element. It can be either a gun or it can be a signature ability or just an ability in general from whatever hero you want of that element. So you can see for this one, if I wanted to turn this one in, I would need to get 12 of these arc materials and then 3 of the Shinkas. So when we talk about the Shinkas, my favorite thing to do is actually go to what a lot of you are probably also farming is going to be Legendary campaign. I almost exclusively use my my Pinnacle Energy on Legendary campaign because I just need so many of these exotic weapon infusion cores to max out my exotic weapons for my characters. So I'm going to be doing this anyway. This is also a really good way because no matter which one you do, no matter which activity you do in the legendary campaigns, there is a Shinka almost always in the very, very beginning of whatever it is you want to do. So pick the one for the element you want and then go ahead and just grind it. So like if I wanted to do the one that I showed you, I know that it's gonna be arc and then I need Shinkas. So I'm going to not do that one, not do this one. I'm gonna do this one. So I'm gonna do Armageddon because it has arc as the energy or as the shields, which means I'm gonna want to use somebody that's arc, but then I'm also gonna have the impact Shinkas. So we're going to do this, and that'll be a great way for us to get a Shinka in the very beginning. And you can also just like leave and come back in and kill that Shinka over and over again to get the possibility of getting that resource for you. So it's a great way of grinding it. Now, the other thing, and the big part of this, I'm not going to make this video drag on too much longer, guys, because I really want to make sure that you guys just get back into the game and get to grinding, is don't turn in your very last order. All right, so listen up, listen to me. Don't turn in your last order. Get to the point where you get your legendary ones or the ones that give you 100 origami. Turn in 4 of those or however many you can before you get, you run out of your refresh attempts for the day. And then once you've done 4 out of your 5 orders, do not turn in your 5th one. Reason being, if you turn it in, you will no longer get this material from drops. All right, so if you play the game for the rest of the day and you have already turned in all 5, you will not get any resources. However, if you don't turn in the 5th one right away, you will continue to get the resources through whatever events you're doing in the game. So what I'm going to do, especially today being the second day, I'm going to do what I talked about already. So I'm going to prioritize the 100 origami ones or like the legendary, orders. And then I'm going to not turn in my 5th one, play the whole day like I normally would, off and on, of course. And then at the very end of the day tonight, before I go to bed, I will turn in my 5th one, because by that point I will have a ton of these different materials because I would have obtained them from different things I would have done throughout the day in general. That's the big secret here, is that everyone is sort of rushing to do it like you would your dailies in the very beginning of the day and turning in all 5 and then being done. But then when you keep playing the game, you're not getting those resources. So then if you do it the way that I just said, you can instead get a ton of these resources. And then let's say I'm not available to play tomorrow. Let's say I have a huge day at work, which I do. Actually, Monday, Tuesday, I have a very, very busy day at work where I'm going to be basically working 15 to 18 hours for the day. So I'm not going to get a lot of playtime. So I can basically bank these resources in order to turn them in on days that I'm not fully available. So keep that in mind, guys. I think it's a really great way of sort of managing this event better. And I haven't seen anyone talk about this yet. So you can, in theory, grind out basically all this event is going on for another 18 days that you see at the very top. So I can grind out my resources. If I have a ton of time today, I can just grind out all the resources without turning that 5th one in. And then I'll be able to turn them in every single day. So that's my little bit of a tidbit of a sneak peek, not a sneak peek, but my tidbit for the best way of prioritizing this event. Now, before I end out the video, I do want to go ahead and talk about that we are getting even more events. So we do have the, that's just the pull event. We have this one that came with a new season, so that's not new, but we already have Morgan's Hunt coming, which I'm actually pretty surprised that we're already getting again. Again, it's another great way of getting these sort of in-game materials that we need. You're going to get a guaranteed exotic. You're going to get some of these Mobius clusters, which I don't need them as much as I used to. I feel like I'm always able to max out an exotic mod to max. And I feel like if you've been playing the game pretty consistently, you're probably in a pretty similar book than I am. But that is, I guess, depending on how many characters you're trying to max. So I'm trying to like only max like 3 real characters. So when I do get that exotic perfect god roll mod, I can just max it out. Like I almost always have 40, so I only need 20 to max it out. But I also think part of that's from getting all these other events that we've had on a pretty consistent cadence that's allowing us to get more of these. And once again, we are getting more of those incandescence clusters, which I said are by far still the hardest in-game material to grind for. But again, this is a great way of getting it. So this one's coming back on 11/21, so in 6 days, which is pretty awesome. There's a version preview and all that good stuff. But yeah, I think this is a great event. I'm actually a big fan of Reunion Day. It's also pushing you to play, if I didn't talk about it already, the two different activities you can get these are from Gauntlet Blitz, which we do have the new blitzes out. So if you're trying to farm for your god rolls for those new weapons, those new mythics, then you can do it in this event as well and sort of double dip a little bit. And there's definitely, I would do that over the destination exploration. The destination exploration is just by doing those normal things out in the world, but there's a lot less mobs out there and a lot of people already doing it. So I would just do Gauntlet, and that would be the probably ideal way of doing it. And let's just see. There's one in particular I felt like, I think it was Overflow, had a ton of ads. So maybe check that one out if you're interested. But again, I actually really enjoy all 3 of the new blitzes. So I've just been doing those. So anyway, that's going to do it for today's video, guys. Hopefully this helps you. Like I said, I was actually surprised that no one else has provided that tip as to how to sort of max out your mats for the full day, even days in advance, by not turning in that fifth slot. So if that tip helped you, make sure you like and subscribe, guys. I'm off to work because it's work day. Hope to see you guys in a video soon. See you later. Bye.